I've written and given speeches almost my entire life, and this was the hardest one I've ever had to write, for sure. So this Bible was actually her Bible that her dad gave to her when she was 11, and then he passed away when she was 12. And fun fact, her name was written in the front by her mom, and then someone, Cindy, crossed out her name and wrote her own name in there. So now it actually says Cindy Michaelandrich in it from when she was a child, and her phone number when she was a kid, instead of Emma Lou O'Malley like it used to say. So thanks for that, Mom, for ruining the family legacy here. But at any rate,
I added to it.
You've added to the legacy, that's right, for generations to come. But she gave me this Bible when my Uncle Chuck, her son, passed away, because she wanted me to read the 23rd Psalm from it for him. So I thought I would start with that today. I'm getting a smidge old. I'm glad there's a light up here. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me for all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But along with that, I decided there was another one that I wanted to read, and I think you'll see why after I read it. It's from Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. To a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And if that sounds more like a song than something from the Bible, it's because it was. It was the Byrds in 1965. And although I wasn't there to dance for it then, I have no doubt that she would have been dancing to that song. As Mom said, she danced to everything. And if you watch the slideshow that we'll have going later, she danced the Macarena and the Funky Chicken and the Electric Slide at my wedding reception. And she was dancing the YMCA at my college graduation. It didn't matter whether it was a dance from the 30s, the 40s, or yesterday. She was out there trying to learn that dance on the dance floor. And if there wasn't a dance floor, it didn't matter. She was dancing in the living room or the kitchen or the dining room or wherever the music was playing. She was always wanting to dance. But it wasn't just dancing. And it's kind of ironic that what I was going to talk about next was that she played the organ. And lo and behold, there's the organ standing right next to me here. She played the organ, and she wanted to play really well because my mom played really well and had played for many years. And my grandmother loved watching my mom, listening to her play the organ. So she decided she wanted to play the organ like my mom. She did not play the organ like my mom. She tried really hard. And she loved Phantom of the Opera. And so she bought herself one of those easy reader Phantom of the Opera organ books. And she tried to play it. And she loved it, but she wanted us to sing with her. So she'd have me stand next to her while she played Phantom of the Opera, which, if any of you know, is a really difficult musical. And I'd have to sing along while she was playing. And it would sound something like this, as she was trying to find the notes and chords. The Phantom of the Opera. And me trying to follow. And she's looking for the next note, and then she hits the wrong one, and she goes back. But you know, it didn't matter because she loved it. She was having so much fun while she was doing it, and I didn't care how stupid I sounded because I was having fun with her. And she would sing other songs. I don't know, Kelly, if you remember, she sang the song Here Again, and I have no idea, I didn't know what it was or what it was, but she'd sing, and if you knew her and you'd ever seen her sing something, and she'd kind of do a little thing with her face, like kind of like tilt her head a little while she was singing, and she'd sing Harrigan, that's Harrigan. It's the name that's the same as the name I grew up with, Harrigan, that's me. And she just had this little like tilt to her head, and there was a line in it about being proud of her Irish blood. And I think that's why she loved that song so much, because she was so proud of her Irish blood. And she would say things like, with a name like Emmylou O'Malley, you have to be proud of being Irish. And growing up, I thought that was like the most Irish name a person could have. My grandma, Emmylou O'Malley, she is the most Irish person you'll meet in your entire life, even though she was really like 50% Irish or something. It didn't matter. She was Emmylou O'Malley, and that's as Irish as it gets. So she'd sing other songs like Tora Laura and When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. And so I wanted to find an Irish prayer for today that I had never heard before. I thought maybe nobody else would be reciting. So I found this one. It's a little tough to read, but I think you all will appreciate it. I know she would have. An Irish funeral prayer. Death is not nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Everything remains as it was. The old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way of which you always used to. Put no sorrow to your tone. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile. Think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind? Because I'm out of sight. I am but waiting for you, for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well, nothing is lost, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. And even though I'm not quite as Irish as she was, her love of the heritage, it just wore off on me. The love of the culture wore off on me too. Like other things that she loved, like Guiding Light, because she got me hooked on watching Guiding Light, the soap opera, when I was about 8 years old. Going to her house was as 1980s grandma as you could get. We would go to her house, and she's sitting in her, fancy decorated living room in her matching nice little polyester leisure suit, smoking her cigarette on the couch and watching her stories in the afternoon with her crystal candy dish on the table with the wrapped candies in it. It was like the quintessential 80s grandma, and it was perfect. But it was during those moments, those times, where she'd start telling stories. And it's just a normal afternoon. We're just watching Guiding Light, and on the commercial break, she starts telling me a story. And the older that I got, the more she really told me, the more in depth she went with the stories about her life, her marriages, about what it was like living during World War II, just what it was like to live so long, to see the world change so much. And then once I was in college, I started driving to visit her a lot in Pittsburgh, and would stay with her, and we would spend hours having conversations like that. But of course, it was when she wasn't obsessively watching either QVC or the O.J. Simpson trial, which is another thing she became totally obsessed with for a while there in the 90s. But she was dealt with a lot of things in her life. Like my mom mentioned, she lost her dad when she was only a child. She lost 2 husbands. She lost a son. She lost a grandson. She battled breast cancer. And at 91 years, it was her time to find peace. And I found this Irish proverb that I think kind of sums up how we all need to think about that today. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. I would ask that any of you that would like to say the Lord's Prayer with me. I'll be saying the Presbyterian version, but feel free to say whatever you would like. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you all.